Hello there! Welcome to a topic that's been stirring up kitchens, dinner tables, and scientific circles for decades: the debate over dietary fat. For years, fat has been cast as the villain in our diets, blamed for everything from heart disease to the growing rates of obesity. Headlines screamed warnings, and health campaigns urged us to cut back on butter, bacon, and anything that seemed remotely indulgent. Supermarkets responded with a tidal wave of low-fat and fat-free products, lining shelves with promises of slimmer waistlines and healthier hearts. Shoppers filled their carts with diet foods, convinced they were making the best choices for themselves and their families. But now, a new perspective is emerging, one that challenges everything we thought we knew. What if fat isn't the enemy after all? What if, in fact, certain fats are not just harmless, but actually essential for our bodies to function at their best? Some experts now argue that the war on fat had unintended consequences. As food companies removed fat, they often replaced it with sugar and refined carbohydrates, leading to a surge in metabolic diseases like diabetes and fatty liver disease. Instead of getting healthier, many people found themselves facing new health challenges. So what's the real story? Is fat good or bad? Should we reach for skimmed milk or embrace full-fat dairy? The science is evolving, and for the first time in decades, we're starting to get clearer answers about the role of fat in our diets. The advice we follow doesn't just affect our waistlines. It shapes our long-term health, our risk for chronic diseases, and even our relationship with food. The choices we make at the grocery store and in our kitchens have a ripple effect on our well-being. With so much conflicting information, it's no wonder many of us feel lost and frustrated. One day, fat is the enemy. The next, it's a friend. How do we know what to believe? Today, we'll unravel the fascinating story of how the low-fat movement began, what really replaced fat in our foods, and why healthy fats like those found in nuts, seeds, and olive oil might be more important than we ever realized. So, let's dig in and get to the bottom of the great fat debate, because understanding the truth about fat could change the way you eat and the way you feel for good. The story of our fear of fat is one of good intentions gone awry. It all began in the mid-20th century, when scientists and doctors were searching for answers to the rising rates of heart disease. One study, led by Ancel Keys and known as the 7 Countries Study, seemed to offer a clear culprit: saturated fat. The results suggested a strong link between eating foods high in saturated fat and developing heart disease, and this idea quickly took hold in the public imagination. Saturated fats, found in foods like butter, cheese, and fatty meats, were suddenly seen as dangerous. Medical experts and researchers pored over charts and data, convinced that reducing these foods would save lives. Governments around the world responded with sweeping public health campaigns. They urged citizens to cut back on fat, especially from animal sources like meat and dairy. Grocery stores began to change, and families everywhere started to rethink what they put on their plates. Food companies saw an opportunity and quickly filled supermarket shelves with a new generation of low-fat products. Yogurts, snacks, and packaged foods proudly displayed low-fat labels, and these products were marketed as the healthier choice. The low-fat label became a kind of health halo, making people feel good about their choices. But the science behind these recommendations was far from perfect. It was oversimplified and in many ways flawed. The studies often ignored countries like France, where people enjoyed diets rich in cheese, butter, and other high-fat foods, yet had lower rates of heart disease than expected. This contradiction was largely overlooked in the rush to demonize fat. Instead of distinguishing between different types of fat, we lumped them all together. Healthy fats, like those found in nuts, seeds, avocados, and fish, were shunned along with the truly harmful ones. The message was simple: all fat is bad, so avoid it at all costs. In our quest to avoid fat, we turned to highly processed, low-fat foods. These products were often loaded with sugar, salt, and artificial additives to make up for the missing fat, but they were marketed as healthy alternatives. People filled their carts with low-fat cookies, crackers, and snacks, believing they were making the right choice for their health. Ironically, this shift set the stage for a new wave of health problems. As the decades passed, rates of obesity, diabetes, and other chronic diseases began to rise. The well-meaning campaign to reduce fat had unintended consequences, and we are still grappling with the results today. When fat is removed from food, something has to replace it. But what actually fills that gap? For decades, food companies have been on a mission to create products that are lower in fat, hoping to appeal to health-conscious consumers. Yet removing fat from food isn't as simple as it sounds. Fat doesn't just add calories, it gives food its creamy texture, rich flavor, and satisfying mouthfeel. Without it, foods can taste bland, watery, or unappealing. So, to make up for the loss, manufacturers have to get creative. Manufacturers often add sugar, refined starches, and artificial additives to make low-fat products taste good. These ingredients help mimic the texture and flavor that fat provides, but they come with their own set of problems. Sugar and starches are cheap, easy to add, and can make even the blandest food taste appealing. But they also change the way our bodies respond to food. A low-fat yogurt, for example, can contain as much sugar as a can of soda. Many people reach for these products thinking they're making a healthier choice, not realizing they're trading one problem for another. The sugar content in these foods is often hidden behind labels like evaporated cane juice or fruit concentrate, making it easy to overlook. These hidden sugars can be more harmful than the fat they replace, contributing to weight gain and diabetes. When we eat foods high in added sugars, our blood sugar spikes quickly, forcing our bodies to release more insulin. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, a key factor in the development of type 2 diabetes. Sugar-laden, low-fat foods spike blood sugar, leading to crashes and cravings. After the initial rush, energy levels plummet, leaving us feeling tired and hungry again. This cycle encourages overeating and makes it harder to maintain a healthy weight. Fat, on the other hand, digests slowly and keeps you full longer. Foods with healthy fats like avocados, nuts, and full-fat dairy provide lasting energy and help control appetite. They also play a crucial role in absorbing vitamins and supporting brain health. The promise of health from low-fat products was often an illusion. Clever marketing convinced us that fat was the enemy, but the real danger was lurking in the ingredients list. We feared fat, but didn't notice we were eating more sugar and processed ingredients. The shift to low-fat eating didn't make us healthier. It just changed the way our food was made. Ultra-processed low-fat foods have fueled modern epidemics of obesity and diabetes. Instead of solving the problem, we created new ones by relying on sugar and additives to replace fat. The real problem wasn't fat, it was what we replaced it with. By understanding what's really in our food, we can make better choices for our health and well-being. Let's look at the benefits of full-fat foods. Natural fats help us feel full and satisfied, curbing overeating. They're essential for absorbing vitamins A, D, E, and K. Without fat, these nutrients pass right through us. Full-fat foods like dairy, oily fish, and olive oil offer unique health benefits, from heart health to anti-inflammatory effects. Large studies like the PURE study show that higher fat intake doesn't increase heart disease risk. High carbohydrate intake might be more concerning. Full-fat dairy hasn't been linked to more heart disease, and may even be protective. The evidence is forcing us to rethink old assumptions about fat. Embracing healthy, natural fats is key to a balanced diet. While healthy fats are important, low-fat products still have a place for some people. Certain medical conditions require lower fat intake, and in these cases, low-fat foods are necessary. The key is individualization. What works for one person may not work for another. Always check labels to avoid hidden sugars and additives in low-fat products. For most, a moderate amount of natural, unprocessed fats is best. The goal is balance and understanding the reasons behind your choices. One of the best skills you can develop is reading food labels. Ignore flashy claims like low fat. Turn the package over and check the ingredients and nutrition facts. If sugar or unfamiliar additives are high on the list, think twice. Short, simple ingredient lists are best. Compare sugar content in low-fat versus full-fat versions. You'll often find more sugar in the low-fat option. Watch out for unrealistic serving sizes. The best foods don't need labels. Vegetables, fruits, eggs, fish, nuts, and seeds. Build your diet around whole foods to avoid the pitfalls of processed products. Real food gives you healthy fats without added sugars or chemicals. Choose wisely and eat simply. After decades of confusion, the verdict is clear. Fat is not the enemy. The type of fat and its source matter more than the amount. Healthy fats from whole foods support heart, brain, and metabolic health. The real problem is ultra-processed foods high in sugar and unhealthy fats. Don't fear olive oil, nuts, oily fish, or full-fat dairy. Enjoy them in moderation. Focus on variety, balance, and whole foods, not obsessing over fat grams. Read labels, question marketing claims, and pay attention to how foods make you feel. Nutrition advice evolves, but eating real, minimally processed food is always a smart choice. Make peace with fat and enjoy a healthier, more delicious life.